Today I'm here with Bill Hayes, one of our 2022 Board of Directors. Welcome, Bill.
Hey, thank you, Dana.
Yes, let's just get right into it. We're talking about do's and don'ts in a transaction, in our industry. As a listing agent, why do you think it's really important to get all of your ducks in a row, to get everything prepared? Can you give me an example of why it would be so important?
Oh, absolutely. My background's in project management, and so I do a lot of treating my transactions like projects. And one of the tricks to having a successful project is to kind of front load as much as you possibly can ahead of time in a proactive kind of manner. And so the same goes with listings. The more I can understand about a property and a listing ahead of time before we go into active status on the MLS and before we end up in escrow, the better. A great example would be get your preliminary title as soon as possible. And the reason for that is you don't know necessarily what's on that title. You don't know if the seller might have forgotten that, oh yeah, about 10 years ago, I owed somebody some money and they had a judgment and it's now on their property. And a lot of sellers think that maybe by selling their property, they can escape what they might have a judgment on that property for. Anyway, getting that prelim early allows you to catch up. I'm messing up already. Getting that prelim early allows you to understand what you're up against. As an example, we had a property recently that the prelim wasn't pulled early. The listing agent went into escrow with a buyer, and when the prelim came through, there was over $900,000 worth of liens. And that kind of changed the entire complexion of that transaction and put it into a reactive mode where there was delays in closings and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. What do you think is the greatest skill set an agent can learn being in the real estate industry?
There's such a wide variety of skills that you have the opportunity to learn in real estate. For me, one of the most valuable skills is learning about myself, kind of just learning about what I'm really good at, what I really enjoy, what I don't exactly enjoy, and then leveraging that. That builds into learning how I interact with the variety of different personalities that you come in contact with in real estate, whether it's a seller, a buyer, agent across the table. And you start to learn that there's just kind of different categories of personalities, and you learn how to perhaps interact with them in a way that's going to result in a successful transaction at the end of the day. You also learn about which personalities you need to avoid.
Yes.
And so I think for me, that's one of the bigger skill sets that I've really enjoyed exploring and learning over the past number of years I've been in real estate.
Great. You oversee a lot of transactions. What are some common problems or mistakes agents are making out there?
That's a great question. And I think as a generalization, one of the bigger mistakes I see, and it's kind of cliche in the industry, but a lot of agents haven't even read the RPA, the purchase agreement. And so they don't understand necessarily that that purchase agreement represents the rules of the game. And you're going to be much better as an agent and much better as a representative of your buyer or your seller if you understand the rules of the game. And so not having a good handle on that document is something I think agents can improve on because it's like a puzzle and all the pieces fit together. But if you don't know how they fit together, it's going to be hard to get the picture straight and make sure you end up with the result that you're looking for.
Do you think that most agents go to the appropriate place to find answers to their questions for forms, for transaction questions? If you had advice to give an agent, where would you say they should go for advice on learning the forms, on a question they had in a transaction? Is it not necessarily their desk mate, but probably their manager or broker?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's really super important for agents to be at a brokerage that, first of all, they feel they have a good fit, but then also has substantial and responsive broker support. That's one of the functions that I provide at our brokerage. And having a broker that's available, that has experience, that can help guide you when you get yourself painted in the corner or you're dealing with a difficult personality across the table, and there's a few out there, is priceless. And one of the things that we do is brokers is help, especially newer agents, have confidence to sit alongside of some of the more experienced agents and be successful in their transactions and for their clients.
So would you suggest a mentor?
Would I suggest a mentor? I think most brokerages start agents off with mentors if they don't have any experience. I think it's really important, similar to that the brokerage is a good fit for that agent, that the mentor is also a good fit. And that mentor is spending the appropriate amount of time with that newer agent, guiding them and helping them, and not just reactively answering calls when the agent comes up for air and is wondering how they get out of the mess that they created because they weren't sure what they were doing.
I found that a mistake that some mentors do is they use their mentee as an assistant, as a personal assistant, and they're having them field their calls and just short of picking up their laundry, as opposed to guiding them.
Sure.
And being a really good mentor. So what do you think it takes to be a good mentor?
Well, I think that not everyone is going to be a good mentor. That, similar to athletics, just because you're a great athlete doesn't make you a great coach. And so a great mentor is going to have patience and be willing to spend their valuable time with a newer agent, and almost be passionate about helping the next generation of agents rising up to become the best version of themselves and help serve buyers and sellers at the highest level. And that, I think, is kind of the key to the mentors, in addition to having the experience and the knowledge to guide that individual in the right direction.
So how important do you think it is for our members to get involved with the association? And where would you think would be the first place to get involved at the association?
That's a tough question. I mean, it took me a while to kind of actually get really involved, but I think there's a lot of opportunities at the association, and especially as a new agent, getting involved with other agents and association staff. I mean, you guys have a lot of really awesome people and a lot of great resources here that over the years for me have been so helpful with questions and things that I've had. Being able to be around those people is only going to help a newer agent just move forward in a much faster trajectory than if they kind of were just hanging out in the fringes by the water cooler and telling stories about the escrow that got canceled and that they never got paid their commission because it didn't work out. So, you've got and I've not been involved in the Young Business Network, but there's so many different networking opportunities. Even the caravans could be a first step to just getting your feet wet as a new agent and learning more about the association and networking with the agents that are actively selling real estate in the area.
Oh, I agree. And you're a new agent, you have a lead. What's the first thing you do?
So this is an interesting question, and this is what's so great about real estate is there's so many different answers to that. And at some point, so some ways it in some ways it depends. So if that lead is an internet lead and I'm receiving it, I might not be so eager to go rushing out and showing them properties and things like that. I mean, a lot of the internet leads are going nowhere or are unrealistic about the market or are just kind of goofing around and looking for something to do. On the other hand, if this lead is a referral from a friend, I'm not going to worry so much initially about a pre-approval or any of those types of things, especially as a new agent, because I need to get practice showing property, talking to people, understanding how everything works. And so it's a great dress rehearsal, if you will, for when you really do have somebody that is got a checkbook in hand and ready to buy whatever they see. The other thing about this particular market is qualifying those individuals for the market. right now we have a cash-rich market. So if you have a buyer that is strapped for cash, it's really not necessarily going to behoove you to take them on many showings because they're just not going to be able to compete against all the multiple offers that we have out there.
So, Bill, as a managing broker, what are some top things and advice you would give to a newer agent?
Great, that's an awesome question, because there's so many different things. One, I think that is pretty significant, and I answer a lot of calls of agents in this regard, is don't take things personal out there. There's certain agents that will try to make things personal as a part of their negotiation approach. And if you're able to transcend that and not get engaged on a personal level, you are going to be much more successful in your negotiations. You're not going to get kind of dragged into that morass. It's just, this is what we're here to do. This is what I'm trying to communicate, and everything else just kind of falls to the side. And so by not taking things personal, I think you maintain the strength of your negotiating position. Whereas if you get into that personal kind of space, it's like spinning a car tire up an icy hill. You're just not getting anywhere, but you're spinning in circles. So that would be my first one. Another one is, I think, and it's tough in these times of social media, focus. Keep your focus on your objectives and your goals, because there's so many different things out there that are trying to distract you about how you can be successful in real estate. It's really important to key in on what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, and what is bringing you results, and stay focused there. I was in coaching for some amount of time, and going to some of those conferences, it was like all these shiny objects of all these different ways agents are successful, and you walk away thinking you need to be doing all of these things to be successful. There's no way. You just can't get it done. And so you need to pick 2 or 3 activities that are going to bring you success that you enjoy, and go from there. And in that same light, one size does not fit all. Again, you don't need to be doing everything. Myself, I've never worn a name tag. I will never wear a name tag. It's just not my thing. No problem, with everyone else who wants to wear a name tag, but I just don't do that. And, another admission, I've never been to Caravan, and I've just not needed it. I'm more of an introvert, and I'm more interested on the contractual side of real estate than on the social side and the hanging out. And so, but it works for me. But for others, Caravan is like the greatest thing ever, and they love it, and they look forward to it every single week. So that's just kind of another example of how you can kind of create what your career and your real estate experience is going to look like. And then the last thing, and this is sort of relevant to me even today, because I just had a cancellation on like a significant $1.8 million sale, is don't count your chickens before they hatch, right? Because it's really easy to get into escrow and think, wow, okay, this commission's coming in, and we're gonna go have a good time, or we're gonna buy this or do that. Real estate is a tough industry that while you one day, literally yesterday evening, I'm getting contingencies removed and we're going to the big show. This morning, there's a conversation last night that was had that they shut it down and the buyer is walking. So you just need to kind of finish the job and celebrate once you get across the finish line.
Those are all great things to say. I'm so happy you joined us. And
thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll see you next time on More Conversations.